It's June 9th, 1982. The afternoon sun glints off your canopy. You're strapped into the back seat of an Israeli Air Force F-4 Phantom, a warhorse of an aircraft known as the Kurnas, or sledgehammer. But today, your weapon isn't a bomb or a cannon. It's something far more subtle. Your world is a series of glowing symbols on a cathode ray tube, a symphony of electronic chirps and piercing alarms piped directly into your helmet. Down below, hidden among the hills and vineyards, is one of the most sophisticated and dense integrated air defense systems ever built outside the Soviet Union. A deadly network of Syrian SA-2, SA-3, and the formidable new SA-6 missile batteries, all linked together, all waiting. Your pilot rolls the heavy fighter into a shallow, probing turn, deliberately skirting the edge of the engagement envelope. Your job is to listen. You are not hunting for aircraft. You are hunting for whispers of energy, for the specific electronic signature of a Syrian radar sweeping the sky. For weeks, this invisible fortress has held the Israeli Air Force at bay, a no-go zone bristling with lethal technology. But today, the plan is different. Today, you are the trigger. A sharp, insistent tone screams in your ears. It's the one you've been waiting for. The unmistakable electronic cry of an SA-6 gainful acquisition radar. It has found you. On your screen, a new symbol flashes. Its position instantly triangulated. The Syrians have taken the bait. Rewrote. You call out the code word over the intercom. Train. The trap is sprung. Your pilot steadies the Phantom, and you feel a solid thump as the weapon releases from its pylon. An AGM-45 Shrike anti-radiation missile, nicknamed Purple Fist, leaps away from your aircraft. It doesn't see a target. It hears one. The missile arcs gracefully, its seeker head locked onto the stream of radar energy flooding the sky. For the crew below, their screen would show your aircraft as a perfect target, but they are deaf to the viper you have just unleashed. Their greatest weapon, their radar, is now a homing beacon for their own destruction. That single missile, arcing through the Lebanese sky, is more than just a piece of ordnance. It is the physical answer to a question that has been hanging over the region for years. To understand its flight, you must first understand the ground below. A landscape fractured not just by mountains and valleys, but by ideology, ambition, and decades of conflict. The year 1982 finds Lebanon in the throes of a brutal civil war, a failed state whose territory has become a violent chessboard for its more powerful neighbors. In the south of the country, the Palestine Liberation Organization, the PLO, has carved out a de facto state, a launching pad for rocket attacks and cross-border raids into Israel's northern communities, the Galilee. For years, Israeli civilians have lived under this threat, and the political pressure to remove it has become immense. This is the spark for Operation Peace for Galilee, a full-scale Israeli invasion of Lebanon with the stated aim of creating a 40-kilometer security buffer. But another, larger player is already on the board. Syria, under President Hafez al-Assad, views Lebanon as part of its sphere of influence and has tens of thousands of troops on the ground, effectively occupying much of the country. Their presence converges with Israel's advance in the strategic Bekaa Valley. This valley is the spine of Lebanon, a critical corridor for any army seeking to control the country. And it is here that Syria has made its move. In response to an earlier clash where Israel shot down Syrian helicopters, Damascus did something that fundamentally changed the strategic calculus. They moved their advanced, Soviet-supplied surface-to-air missile batteries into the valley. This wasn't just a defensive repositioning, it was a declaration. These 19 SAM batteries, a mix of older SA-2 seconds and SA-3 seconds, and the new, highly mobile and dangerous SA-6 seconds, created an interlocking field of fire. This was pure Soviet air defense doctrine. Create an impenetrable barrier that would deny your enemy the use of the sky. For Israel, whose entire military doctrine was built upon the foundation of air supremacy, this was an existential threat. Their aircraft could no longer fly reconnaissance missions, nor could they provide crucial close air support to their advancing ground troops. The SAMs had effectively blinded and shackled the Israeli Air Force. A red line had been crossed. The political tinderbox now had a military fuse, and it was burning fast. The challenge laid down by the Syrian missile batteries in the Bekaa Valley was a technological gauntlet. To meet it, you must understand the machines that would be flown into this cauldron. In the Israeli hangars, you see the culmination of a revolution in air power. Gleaming in the sun are the brand new, American-built fighters that represent the apex of Western aerial design. There is the F-15 Eagle, called the Baz or Falcon by its Israeli pilots. It is an apex predator, a massive twin-engine air superiority fighter built for one purpose: to dominate the sky. Its powerful look-down, shoot-down radar can pick out enemy fighters from the ground clutter below, a game-changing capability. Climbing into its cockpit, you feel you are commanding a battleship of the air. Alongside it sits its nimble stablemate, the F-16 Fighting Falcon, or Nets, the Hawk. It is a different beast entirely, smaller, lighter, with a revolutionary frameless bubble canopy that gives its pilot almost 360-degree vision. It is a true dogfighter, capable of pulling incredible G-forces, its fly-by-wire controls translating your slightest touch into breathtaking maneuvers. These aircraft are not just platforms. They are integrated weapon systems, nodes in a wider network. Flying high above, the E-2C Hawkeye airborne early warning aircraft acts as the fleet's eyes and ears, its massive rotating radome painting a complete picture of the airspace for miles around, feeding data directly to the fighters. On the other side of the border, the Syrian Air Force fields a fleet of Soviet-built interceptors, primarily the nimble MiG-21 and the powerful, variable sweep-wing MiG-23. These are formidable aircraft in their own right, fast and heavily armed, but they operate under a fundamentally different doctrine. Soviet air combat philosophy emphasized strict ground-controlled intercept, GCI, where pilots were treated as chess pieces, guided to their targets by operators on the ground. This system could be effective, but it stifled pilot initiative and was critically vulnerable. If you could jam their communications or destroy their ground radar, the pilot was suddenly flying blind. In the initial clashes over Lebanon, this difference became brutally apparent. As Israeli F-15 seconds engaged Syrian MiGs, the Israeli pilots, with superior situational awareness from their own radars and the Hawkeye's data links, could see the entire battle unfolding. They chose when and where to fight, achieving kills from beyond visual range and dominating the close-in dogfights, while the Syrian pilots were often unaware of the threat until it was far too late. The Steel had made its debut, and the initial results were clear. The Israeli aircraft were superior, but the dogfights were a sideshow. The real enemy remained untouched on the valley floor. The early aerial victories are intoxicating, but you, as a planner in the Israeli Air Force command bunker, know they are a dangerous illusion. Winning dogfights is one thing. Controlling the airspace is another entirely. The Bekaa Valley remains a fortress. The terrain itself, a long, relatively flat corridor flanked by mountains, is a perfect killing ground for a defender. It channels any attacking force into predictable avenues of approach, right into the teeth of the Syrian missile batteries. A direct, conventional bombing campaign would be catastrophic. Sending your prized F-15 seconds and F-16 seconds into that web would be like feeding them into a wood chipper. The losses would be unacceptable, and the entire ground invasion of Lebanon could stall. The chessboard has shifted from a simple contest of pilot skill to a complex, multi-dimensional problem of time, terrain, and technology. The old ways of war will not work here. This is not about sending in a lone wolf to dodge missiles like in Hollywood movies. The Syrian Air Defense Network is a living, breathing organism. Its various radar systems acquisition, guidance, and tracking are its eyes and ears. Its missile launchers are its claws. To attack one part is to alert the whole. The solution, you realize, must be equally systemic. The Israeli High Command greenlights a plan that has been in development for years. One that treats the electromagnetic spectrum as a battlefield co-equal with the land and sky. The operation is codenamed Mole Cricket 19. The strategy is a symphony of deception and destruction built around revolutionary technology. For weeks, small, unmanned aerial vehicles, the Tadiran Mastiff and IAI scout drones, have been buzzing over the valley. To a modern observer, they look primitive, like oversized model airplanes. But their role is profound. They are your disposable spies. They carry simple video cameras, transmitting a live, real-time picture of the battlefield directly to your command post. More importantly, they have a radar signature designed to mimic that of a full-sized fighter jet. They will be the bait. High above, out of harm's way, a fleet of specially modified Boeing 707 seconds and other electronic warfare aircraft will act as the orchestra's conductors. Their powerful sensors will listen, categorize, and pinpoint every single Syrian radar that dares to transmit, while their jammers stand ready to overwhelm them with a blizzard of electronic noise. All this information, drone feeds, electronic intercepts, Hawkeye radar pictures, converges in your command post, creating a god's eye view of the battle space that has never before been possible. The board is set. At precisely 2 p.m. local time, the first wave is launched. But it's not the thunderous roar of F-4 Phantoms or F-15 Eagles that fills the air. Instead, it's the high-pitched whine of glorified lawnmower engines. You watch from the command center as dozens of small, propeller-driven drones, your phantom bait, lift off and begin their slow, deliberate journey towards the Bekaa Valley. They fly in formations that mimic a conventional strike package, their flight paths carefully calculated to be as provocative as possible. To the Syrian radar operators staring at their screens, they appear as a tantalizingly easy target. An arrogant, foolishly slow Israeli air raid is entering their kill box. It's an opportunity too good to pass up. Deep in a camouflaged bunker in the valley, a Syrian officer gives the order. A switch is flipped. The powerful fan-like antenna of an SA-6 gainful missile battery begins to rotate, flooding the sky with search and destroy radar energy. On your master tactical display, a new icon flashes into existence, its position instantly plotted with pinpoint accuracy. A cheer goes up in the command bunker. The first fish has taken the bait. A few seconds later, another icon appears, then another, and another. Across the valley, confident Syrian missile crews, eager for a kill, begin lighting up the sky with their radars. They are painting targets, preparing to swat these slow-moving pests from the air. They have no idea that they are the ones being targeted. High above, your electronic warfare aircraft are drinking in this flood of energy. Every pulse, every frequency, every unique electronic signature is being recorded, analyzed, and cataloged in real time. The invisible fortress is revealing all its secrets. You can now see not just where the missile batteries are, but which ones are active, what frequencies they're using, and how they are communicating with each other. Hollywood often portrays this kind of warfare as a lone pilot dodging missiles, but the reality is far more clinical. This is electronic forensics conducted at the speed of light. The Syrian missile crews believe they are preparing for battle. In truth, the battle has already been decided. They have just handed you the key to their own destruction, trading the lives of their highly trained crews and their multi-million-dollar missile systems for the chance to shoot down a drone worth less than a family car. The bait has been taken. The trap is now set. The moment the trap is full, the order goes out. The sky, which moments ago held only drones, rips open. From holding patterns high above and from bases across Israel, the main strike force converges on the Bekaa Valley. This is not a tentative probe. It is a tidal wave of steel. Leading the charge are the F-4 Phantom Wild Weasels, their crew's entire world reduced to the electronic shrieks of Syrian radars. You see them dive, launching their anti-radiation missiles not at the SAM sites themselves, but at the invisible beams of energy connecting them. Dozens of these purple fist missiles streak towards their targets, each one a silver bullet programmed to kill a signal. On the ground, the Syrian crews see their radar screens dissolve into a blizzard of static as Israeli electronic warfare jets unleash a deafening roar of jamming. They are deaf, and now they are blind. Then come the explosions. The radar dishes, the most vulnerable and critical parts of the missile batteries, are the first to go. They erupt in showers of twisted metal. The electronic eyes of the valley are gouged out in a matter of minutes. The integrated air defense system is no longer integrated. It is just a collection of isolated, terrified crews sitting in armored vehicles with no way to see or fight back. Now, with the threat suppressed, the killers arrive. F-16 seconds and A-4 Skyhawks, laden with cluster bombs and high explosives, roll in at low level. Their attacks are methodical, almost surgical. They aren't just hitting launchers. They are vaporizing command vans, ammunition stores, and support vehicles. What was a fortress just minutes ago is now a scrapyard. In a desperate response, the Syrian Air Force scrambles everything it has. MiG 21 seconds and MiG 23 seconds claw for altitude. Their pilots ordered to stop the massacre below. They fly directly into the apex predators waiting for them. High above the chaos, the Israeli F-15 Eagles, the Bekaa, have been circling, watching the entire air battle unfold on their radar screens thanks to the data feeds from the Hawkeye command ship. It's not a dogfight. It's an ambush. Israeli pilots select their targets from miles away, firing their missiles with digital precision. The Syrian MiGs, flying blind with no guidance from their shattered ground control, are systematically picked off. Some are destroyed before their pilots even know they are under attack. In the span of a single afternoon, the sky is cleared. The final tally is staggering. 19 SAM batteries and their support infrastructure utterly destroyed, and over 80 Syrian aircraft downed, all for the loss of 0 Israeli jets in air-to-air combat. The turkey shoot is over. The silence that descends over the Bekaa Valley is more profound than the noise that preceded it. From your vantage point, you see a landscape littered with the smoking carcasses of advanced military hardware. What was once the pride of Soviet air defense doctrine is now a graveyard of twisted antennas and blackened launch rails. This single, stunningly one-sided operation didn't just clear a path for Israeli ground forces in Lebanon. It sent a seismic shockwave through every military planning staff on the planet. For the first time, a modern, dense, Soviet-style integrated air defense system had been completely and systematically annihilated, with virtually no losses to the attacking force. The implications are enormous. In Washington, military planners watch the after-action reports and drone footage with a mixture of awe and relief. The technologies they had invested billions in, the F-15 and F-16 fighters, the Hawkeye command and control aircraft, the anti-radiation missiles, have been proven not just effective, but overwhelmingly dominant. It is the ultimate validation of the Western pivot towards high technology, networked warfare. The battle proves that it's not just the quality of the individual aircraft that matters, but how they talk to each other. The drones, the jammers, the command ships, and the fighters all worked as a single, cohesive weapon. This is the birth of the system of systems concept, a doctrine that will directly shape the decisive air campaigns of the future, most notably in Operation Desert Storm, less than a decade later. For Moscow, the news from the Bekaa Valley is a catastrophe. It's a humiliating public failure of their premier export-grade military technology and the doctrine behind it. They had taught their allies to rely on ground-controlled intercepts and dense SAM belts, and the Israelis just demonstrated how to dismantle that entire philosophy with electrons and information. A painful reappraisal begins. Soviet engineers are forced back to the drawing board, scrambling to develop new radars that can change frequencies to evade anti-radiation missiles, and new command systems less vulnerable to jamming. The echoes of the turkey shoot are heard in the design offices of the Soviet military-industrial complex for years to come, a stark and undeniable lesson that in modern warfare, the side that controls the electromagnetic spectrum controls the sky. The smoke has long since cleared from the Bekaa Valley, and the wreckage has been reclaimed by time, but the echoes of that single afternoon in 1982 still resonate in the halls of military academies and the cockpits of modern fighter jets. The battle was a stark reminder that the evolution of warfare never ceases. A brutal dialogue between measure and countermeasure, between the shield and the sword. The lessons forged in that crucible of electronic combat and aerial dominance created a new paradigm, shifting the balance of power and redrawing the blueprints for air supremacy. As we look back from our present moment, we see not just a historical event, but a critical turning point that shaped the very nature of the modern battlefield.